to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. It is What Would Lou Do? If you have a tricky situation with a client, a vendor, an employee, a colleague, whatever it is, and you need help and you want to know what would Lou do, then send it to me at LuAnnNigara.com/WWLD. That's LuAnnNigara.com/WWLD. Before we start, I'd love to thank Article for sponsoring the show. You know, Article is the place for you to go if you are designing with a mid-century Scandinavian flair to the space, right? Where else but Article to do that? You have furniture for offices, living rooms, dining rooms, outdoor spaces. All of these things can be found by setting up your trade account today at welldesigned.article.com. That's welldesigned.article.com. You know you have clients that are home and they're looking at homeschooling their children, or they're just looking at staying and working from home themselves for, now it's not a couple of weeks, right? It's already been a couple of months and it's going to be a few months more, if not a year. So if you've had clients that have been putting up with a less than perfect situation, I'll bet by now they're wondering why you haven't called them to help them out. So head over to welldesigned.article.com and see if you can't figure it out for your clients. All right, today's question is from Virginia. So Virginia writes to me, "Hi, LuAnn. I'm fuming right now, so I'm writing on emotion. I do not know what to do, and all I could think about was writing you. I'm a baby designer. I have had a past business relationship with a contractor who I worked with on a commercial projects in the past. He brought me on to one of his most recent residential projects as an interior designer to his client to come up with a design plan for a huge renovation project. Everything went great. It was his project, so he took the lead. I now have returned the favor by bringing him onto one of my new residential projects. I explained my process and handed him a copy of my contract so he could understand my process and procedure and how I run my projects. We all met for trade day, and I explained again to him at that point I would need 8 weeks to complete a design book and create a budget list to present to my client. I asked the contractor to have everything go through me. At the 6-week mark, the contractor called me to say they had an opening to begin the work. I explained we were not ready, the plans were not finalized, and the client had not reviewed any part of the design since the presentation was still yet to be 2 weeks away. He proceeded by sending me a proposal for all the work we discussed during trade day by giving me allowances toward finishes that were not yet selected. That was fine, and that was okay, until he also emailed it to my client behind my back, requesting a $50,000 deposit to begin the work. What work? How is he going to start the project without my plans? I had not even submitted any of my designs or drawings to him yet. Of course, I get an email from my client who was a little confused. I felt like an idiot. This was not how it's supposed to work. What did I do? Well, under no circumstances would I ever throw my contractor under the bus because he is representing me. I could not let my client know that this wasn't how it was supposed to happen because then I would look like the incompetent one. I explained to my client by email that the proposal is still all preliminary at this point, and I said, since you couldn't give me a budget, I just felt like it was important to show you how the numbers are looking so far. Depending on how much you are prepared to spend, we have time to make adjustments before presentation if needed. What I really wanted to say was, he's an idiot because he burned a huge bridge and I will no longer be working with him after this project. Well, that's a perfect case of inside-outside voice if I've ever heard one. Okay. Now, after listening to many What Would Lou Do podcasts, I knew I had to take a hard look at where I went wrong. And I knew it instantly. I had a moment of intuition early on that I should sit down with him and have a real discussion of my expectations and how we're going to work together successfully as me being the lead, but I didn't do it. I know he's not used to someone else running the show, needless to say, a woman running the show. I put myself in his shoes to see if I could see it from a different perspective, and what I concluded was I never would have done that. It was wrong, bottom line. How best do I handle this? I'm not sure after this I even want to work with him again. He's not my regular A-team. My regular A-team couldn't travel this far for the project, but I knew that this contractor would. I can always find another contractor for future projects, but how do I move forward at this point without losing my cool? And how do I represent myself in a professional manner to get through the rest of this project in a professional manner? You know, I already feel better emailing you. I wanted to email my contractor a nasty email, but that would not resolve anything, and I know it would only make things worse. So, what would Lou do? P.S. I love, love, love your podcast. You have become such a huge mentor for me. Okay, well, thank you, Virginia. I love, love, love that you love, love, love the show. And I have to really start with giving you some major high fives here. Okay, I truly, truly do. Number one, for not throwing him under the bus with your client. We know it's not productive, but, you know, despite the fact that it's not productive, sometimes it feels good, right? But I'm glad that you didn't do it, and I'm glad that you didn't do it because it's just not professional. It's not the thing to do. But the second thing I want to give you a high five for is realizing that not only is it not professional for you to blame someone else, that's just icky no matter what, but you realize that you hired him. You brought him in on the project. And if you throw him under the bus, it would only diminish you in your client's eyes. So yay for getting clear ASAP on that, okay? Even being as mad as you were. So yay, 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 okay? The third thing is that I love that you took a hard look at where you might have been wrong in this, okay? So you obviously do listen to the show, okay? Because you know that I always say, go back. Just keep rewinding to that one place where you say, if I had done this different here, that could have changed the outcome. And so often it's not a direct line. It's not like, oh, that one thing, if I had done that, that last thing wouldn't have happened. But that one thing might tweak another thing, might inform another thing, and it might have just prevented a bad outcome from happening. So it's always a worthwhile exercise to do, and I'm so glad you did it. Here's the other thing that I love. High five on this, on finding the spot. Right? On really sitting with yourself and finding that spot and then identifying it as having that moment of intuition that you ignored. Because I love this for 1,000 reasons. You know, I'm always saying to you guys to really cultivate your intuition. And when you hear and feel your intuition in real time and take action and it results positively, that will give you the positive reinforcement to continue to do that. But these are the situations as well, because for Virginia, she's going back and she's saying, I had a moment of intuition there and I didn't follow it. And so what happens is, Virginia, the next time you have a moment of intuition, I really, really highly doubt that you'll run past it. You will sit with it and think, I'm feeling it. I'm knowing I should do this. How do I do it? Okay, now I'll just share with you a second part of an intuition tip, okay? For me, when I have that feeling of intuition that I should be doing something, if what I should be doing is very clear, then I take action. But sometimes I have an intuition feeling that something should be done, but I'm not clear on what it is. And then I sit with it until I'm clear. Sometimes I'm clear in a minute. Sometimes I'm clear in an hour. Sometimes I'm clear in a day. Sometimes it's a month. Okay. But I can tell you that just recognizing the intuition moment is very, very powerful. And no matter how long it takes for you to get the full voice in your head telling you the step, it's just, having that first moment of recognizing it is the beginning. It's like the beginning of the dominoes. So I'm really thrilled that you recognize that, because that will serve you in many ways going forward. All right. So yay. The next time, though, don't ignore it. Right. And then the thing is, though, so what? So what now? I'm like, yay, I'm giving you all these compliments, but what do you do? Right? So first of all, I also, too, want to say, I'm glad that you felt better just by sitting down and writing it. Okay? This is true. For me, I have to yell it. That's how I do it. I usually go for a car ride and I yell my head off down the highway. I mean, that's if I'm really mad, right? And, you have to remember, I've been doing this for many, many years, way before there were cell phones. So there was a time that I would be screaming my head off riding down the highway and people just thought I was out of my mind. Now it looks like I'm just on the phone talking and yelling at somebody on the phone, right? But the point is that that's part of the process, is to get it out, to let it go. And this starts to lead me into what I want to tell you about this situation with this contractor. My guess is, I think I got this email from you a week or so ago, right? So from the time it happened to the time you wrote the email till the time you hear the show, you've probably, really offloaded a lot of this, okay? And maybe you've even had to have interactions with this contractor since then. So if I make an assumption that things have been fine, right? So he doesn't know how egregious he was wrong. He doesn't know how bad he was wrong. He doesn't know what an idiot he was. And you haven't called him out on it. So he, for him, as far as he's concerned, he's happy-go-lucky showing up at, the projects or the emails or whatever the interaction is. Or you really haven't seen each other, but yet, if it hasn't started. But the point is that if you already started to feel better by writing it, I'm sure you've now talked to your, friends, your colleagues, your family, whoever it is, and you've continued to get it off your chest, which is good, because that's another thing I do. Everyone, we just had a situation today at Window Works, and, not such a happy thing happened. And they're all looking at me. They're like, you're going to call her back? You're going to call her back? Because they want to hear what I'm going to say. And I'm like, no, not yet. And then Catherine, who's new, like, oh, how come? And Kim, who's with me 12 years, went, she's not ready to be neutral yet. She's not ready to have the conversation yet. And that's the truth. I won't engage in the conversation, particularly with it's something important. In my case today, it was a customer. In your case, it's a contractor, because you'd have the whole project ahead. Wait until the words I say are actually reflected in my tone of voice. So if I want to say something like, hey, I'm really sorry that happened between us, I'd love to take the next step, my voice needs to reflect that. And if I'm still internally angry, it's probably not going to, and I've learned that. So I don't do it until then. So what I want to say to you is I want you to engage your intuition again. Whatever it's been, a couple of weeks since you've spoken to him or seen him, or a couple of days, I want you to engage that intuition again and ask yourself, in the interim, does it feel necessary to talk to him about this? Does it feel like it will be productive to have a conversation with him about this now? Because there's a yes or a no here. I don't know what the yes or a no is. So I'm not suggesting that you should or you shouldn't, because this is a part where it really will depend on actually what's been happening in real time. So go to your intuition. You're either going to say, this is very important to me, and the conversation or interactions since then are still bordering on he thinks he's lead. Then we got to talk to him. We got to have a conversation. But if you're like, you know what, I was mad as, whatever those sayings are about mad cats. But, it's fine now. Then I would let it go for the duration of the project. Just because, look, he doesn't think that he put down a gauntlet, right? he thinks he's Mr. I run the show. I needed it. I wanted to start the project now. So I don't think he thinks that he started something, is my point. Now, you may need to finish it, but I don't think he thinks he started something. He just was saying, hey, I want to start the project at 6 weeks. You're not ready. Let me just see if the client's ready. This is how I roll. So unless you get any sense that that's not the case, you did say up there that he doesn't like, you're not sure he likes to work with women. So if you really think he's making a move, different story, you got to write me again and we got to have this conversation all over again. But if you think he was just honestly with an opening in his schedule and wanted to get a project rolling and just didn't have the presence of mind to think like a true professional and respect you the same way, then go now to your intuition. Does he need to be checked, or could it just let go? All right. And for not 1 second do I want you to let it go if you don't think it should. But if you think it could be, I'm not so sure you need to call him out, especially because you're saying, I don't really think I'm ever going to work with him again. So, this goes into the category of, do I want to be right or get what I want? So if what I want to be right about is making sure that Mr. Joe Contractor knows that he was out of line, and what I want is the project to go smoothly, do those line up? Can you let Mr. Contractor know that he really crossed a line and the project goes smoothly? And if you can't do both and you really want the project to go smoothly, I would forgo the what do I want. I would forgo wanting to let him know that he was out of line. All right. If I thought the project would go smoothly by letting that go. Okay. So I feel like I'm talking in a circle, but I'm really not. So what I'm saying is that if in order for the project to go smoothly, you think you need to have a sit down with him, then we do it. But if you know that you really don't need a sit down with them in order for the project to go smoothly, then we let it go. That's what I'm trying to say, especially because you don't care if you ever work with them again. All right. Because it's like I say, I'm not your mama. I don't need to teach you manners. Right. So you're not his business coach. You don't need to teach him how to do this unless you want to work with him again. Okay. So here's the thing. Let's go there. Let's say you had your sit down with your intuition. You decided whether you're going to talk to him or not talk to him. Let's say you decide, okay, yeah, I've been ranting and raving and I'm good and I got it all out of my system and he doesn't know any better and I can suck it up and I can get through this project and it can be good. Like you can actually do it and it can be good. Like you've let it go. Okay. Once it's all done, if you felt like you wanted to work with him again, or you just felt like maybe at the end, maybe I would like to school you a little bit. Like I'm not suggesting this for sure. But if you did want to, because you thought maybe maybe the project ends up going really good. Maybe he does this one thing and it really stunk that he did it, but maybe you liked everything else about working with him. Okay. So then at that point, all done, money paid, everybody happy, everybody over, then I might reach out to him maybe 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks after the project. And I might say, I'd love to have a little conversation with you. There's a business coach that I know that she always suggests that we do an autopsy of our projects. And so I've just run through all my project numbers and my profitability, and I've run through the different things that I've done. And now it's my turn to run through with the different trades we're involved. So do you think you and I could just have a chit chat for, a half hour? I'll meet you for coffee or whatever. And then what's he going to say? No. Right? So when you get to that meeting, I would be super kind and super respectful. And I would say, hey, I liked working with you on this project and I would like to do it again. What about you? All right. Do you have room in your pipeline for me to refer more business to you as we go into the remainder of, 2021, assuming the project that you're on now will finish around end of 2020. So, what's he going to say? No, don't give me more business. If he says yes, say terrific. In that case, I'd really love for us to discuss ways we can work together that will help us both do our job really well and, of course, benefit the client. So, for example, you were thinking back to that last project, and the thing was, I remember in the beginning when the project started, I told you that I needed 8 weeks to get the design book together. And you came to me at about the 6-week mark and you said, you had an opening in your schedule and you wanted to get the project started. And I I couldn't do it. I wasn't ready. Was that really only, just based on the timing for you then? Is that why you ended up going to my client and giving them the proposal rather than, giving it to, I know you gave it to me, but going ahead, taking that step and giving it to them? Was that really just about having the opening in your schedule and then stop talking? Okay, because the answer is yes. We know the answer is yes. He said it, but make him say it again because it's probably been many months. And when he does say, well, yeah, that was the thing. I needed, that project to get going because I had the break then. And then, you just look at him and say, I get that. I can see how the timing of projects is important to your efficiency, especially it's the same with me. But when you asked my client for the deposit on the project for plans that they hadn't seen yet, that was really hairy for me. She was asking me what was going on. How could she give money for something she hadn't seen? It was really embarrassing for me. And don't you worry, I made something up about it being a typical preliminary thing. I didn't tell her that I had no idea that you emailed her without me knowing. So I covered it. It's all good. And of course, we finished the project and it was all good. But, it's that the thing is that if we're going to go ahead and work together and I'm going to refer you and pull you in all their projects, I'm going to need for the two of us to be on the same page. If you need something sooner with notice, and if I can do it, I will do it for you. But in the times I can't, I'm going to need you to understand, just like you had opening in your schedule, I didn't have opening in my schedule. You see? So, going forward, it'd be awesome if our schedules always aligned, but they're not always going to. And particularly when I bring you into the project and I haven't made my presentation yet, you can't do that. It's not going to work for me. Can you understand how you see what you have in your calendar, but you don't see what I've got in my calendar? I need to finish the things that I needed to finish in those 2 weeks. Does that make sense? Now, I don't know what kind of person can look at you and say, no, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so he'll mumble around something and blah, 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 and let him mumble all around it because he's probably not going to look at you and say, yeah, man, I'm really sorry, right? So just let him all mumble around it. And then when he gets done, because he'll say a bunch of nothing, then just say, and he's going to end up with something of, yeah, okay, it's I get it. So then you just say, terrific. Do you think we can agree on this going forward? And then stop talking again. And he'll go, yeah, I can. Okay. Because if his whole mumbling ended up with a yes, all you're doing by doing this one straight sentence is getting a clear yes without all the mumbling and all of the sides, antics that he's going to say. All right. And then when he says yes, so do you think going forward we can agree on this? And stop. And like I said, let him say yes. When he says yes, now tell him the other things that you learned in the process of working with him, good and bad. Okay. So I'd say that's terrific. I'm so glad that we got that. I'm just so glad. And as I said, I'd like to share some other things. So here are, 3 things that I thought that maybe I might have been holding you up, or 3 things, or 1 thing where I thought that you were looking for something for me and I wasn't quite, I didn't deliver it or whatever. And here's a couple of things that I noticed that maybe in your process, blah, blah, blah. I don't care what they are. Make up 1 or 2 things that you thought he did really well, 1 or 2 things that you felt like maybe he was looking for something and you didn't give it, and 1 or 2 things that, you wish he would change or you would want to know how to work around his process. Just something. You're showing collaboration here. You're showing recognition that he has good things going on. You're, quietly bringing up 1 or 2 things that you did really well, and you're maybe questioning a couple of places where he could give you constructive criticism, right? So those are the 3 things I want you to cover, okay? And then, you've got it all on the table. And I would take notes. I would write it down and I would say, I'm so happy. This is great. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to, write all this up and I'm going to put it in my file for you. And the next time I have an opportunity to refer you, I'll probably just shoot it over to you in an email just so we both remember the things that you need for me to do that will make the project better, the things that you can do for me. And, I'm looking forward to referring you again. That's great, right? Now, here's the thing. If he were to say, when he does this whole thing and you say, can we agree to this going forward? If he's just like, no, if I got an opening, you need to move. Any client needs to move if I got an opening because that's only going to jam me up on my next job. All right. Then what you do is, what do you say? You say, I'm really sorry to hear that. I was hoping to refer you and work with you. And, but I got to say, not working together in communication, in full collaboration, well, that's a deal breaker for me. And then you just stand up, Virginia, and clackety clack your high heels out of there. I mean, that's it. Just bye. See you later. And leave them sitting there. That's what I would do. Nice, easy breezy. That's not going to work. That's a deal breaker for me. All right. So hope this helps. Okay. I have to say, you really did. You coached yourself through it 98% of the way. You totally did. So I'm really, really proud of you. Your thought process shows me that you've listened to the show a lot, and I appreciate and value that. So would love a little email to know how it went and to see what went, where you guys are at in the process now. But I hope that helps. Okay. And like I said, bottom line is, you killed it yourself. You did so good, Virginia. So high five for you. And, I'm really also very happy and proud of our sponsor, Monogram, luxury appliances for your kitchen designs, right? Please see all of the products that they have for the foodies in your world. And now with everyone cooking and eating at home, having a well-appointed state-of-the-art kitchen is top of mind for so many clients, right? Especially think about that luxury level client who are investing in their homes now because they're not going on luxury vacations. Okay. So they are making sure and looking to have their kitchens be exactly the way they want. And Monogram is the place to help you with that. So get set up with their designer trade program today at monogram.com/LuAnn. That's monogram.com/LuAnn. All righty. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have, I hope you're on my email list. Okay. So the easy way to get on the email list is to go to LuAnnNigara.com/goodies, GOODIES. And the reason why I suggest that is because when you go to LuAnnNigara.com/goodies, you get lots of goodies there. So whenever I say on a show, hey, there's a little checklist of things from this guest, or there's a little bullet point list of the things that we learned from this show, that's all there. So what happens is you sign up once, and then you just can go and check back and see what new goodies have been posted there. But it also will get you on my email list. And then you get to find out the things that I'm doing, which is the soft launch of LuAnn University this September. So we've got 4 courses coming out for you in September. Another one, Sarah Brennan is going to bring Process Leads to Profits out later in the fall. But right now we've got basically, I can't call it Quickbooks because that's illegal. But what we're doing is we're teaching you cloud-based software accounting. Okay. So introductory level, okay, is basically 101. So the profit is in the numbers is 101. So this is, hi, welcome to Quickbooks. Enter your name and enter all your stuff. And Kat Anderson, who is a whiz at numbers and QuickBooks, is going to teach you how to set up all of your design firm in QuickBooks so that you can run it and understand it and really get a handle on things. And then Peter Lang is going to teach the 201. And I have to tell you, I don't care where you are in business. All you have to do is be past the point where you understand QuickBooks. So you have to know how to reconcile your account. You have to have a couple of little criteria there. But what's going to happen, because this is actually running in the fall, a lot of what he's going to do is going to teach you how to look at your numbers in QuickBooks and evaluate the things that you need to talk to your accountant about for your year end so that you minimize your taxes, you maximize your take home, okay? And you have the ability to make smart decisions about the things that you might want to invest in for your business in 2021. So think about this as all of the information in a calm, caring, supportive way that is the next level beyond just knowing what your QuickBooks says, but knowing how to work with it. And then think about having these conversations and these lessons with Peter through September and October, and then having that Q4 meeting with your accountant. How much more productive will that meeting be? Because you will be so much more informed. So whether you are going to finish out at 100K gross revenue this year, 50K, or 4 million, okay, this is that next level where you really understand how you look at your money and make it work for you. Okay. And then, of course, we have Design Build for Profit. Jenny Slingerland is teaching this. This is basic design build. So this is, I've got some experience in the field. I've done some design and decoration. I've not done a design build. All right. So I've had people say to me, I've done 5 or 6 or 10 design builds before, kind of have a process. Is this going to help me learn how to do that A-tier book like Brad Levitt talked about on your show? No, ma'am. No, sir. This is not that. Okay. That's coming. Okay. But that's not this. This is, I have an opportunity to do a design build. I've never done one before. I know that I want to do a killer job. I know I want to create a design book that I can be proud of. I know that I want to create a book. And at the end of this course, you will have created a design book. So even if you've never done a design build before, you will be able to go and pitch a builder and say, you know, I know what I'm doing. I'd love to be able to work with you on a project. So that's what this is. This is getting your feet wet and understanding the basics of the design build process and the way to create the design build book. All right. And then we have Desi. Desi Cresswell is going to teach Increase Confidence, Increase Profits. You know, Desi's all about the CEO mindset. She's all about helping you wrap your brain around the things that you need to be doing as a CEO. And she has the most amazing way to just open your eyes about something and look at it differently in a way that you can say, yes, I can do that. Or, yes, I have to do that. I don't know if you remember in the last episode that Desi was on the show with me. You know, she said the line, I said, yeah, I know. And then I don't want to do it anyway. You know, and it was something about emails because I hate emails. Okay. I just hate the sheer number that come in. Don't mind me. But, you know, and she said, you know, LuAnn, I'm going to say to you what I say to my kids. You don't always have to feel like doing what you have to do. And that was like an opening moment for me. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I do. So this is what Desi does. Desi has an actual coaching system, a process for helping you peel back the layers and understand some of the stories and the mindset blocks that you have that prevent you from fully stepping into the business owner that you know you can be. Okay. So they all have their own website. You can just go to LuAnnNigara.com and go to the events and coaching tab, and then you will see the 4 different courses there. And early bird deadline is ending September 4th. So don't hesitate. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for showing up today and for listening to the show. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope that you have a great day and that you decide to be excellent. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at LuAnnNigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.